Let me start off by defining what dwell time is. Dwell time is the duration between the initial intrusion and the detection of the incident by the organization. With ransomware operations, we tend to find that dwell time tends to be lower than other types of incidents because the threat actors want to deploy ransomware encryptors as quickly as possible, and it's really easy for an organization to detect an incident when all of their systems go down. There's really four main ways that we see threat actors gaining access to organizations. Number one, standard email-based phishing. Number two, we see a lot of password spraying and credential stuffing. Password spraying is essentially where threat actors attempt to use the same password across a lot of different accounts across the organization. So for example, they might try the password of winter 2020 or spring 2021 across every single user that they know about within the organization. And really, they only need to find a single account that might use that password. And a lot of times we find that help desks may reset a password to something like that, or perhaps the company name and then one at the end of it. We also see threat actors leveraging credential stuffing techniques to get into organizations. The concept of credential stuffing is to reuse passwords known to have been used by an individual on another website that might have been hacked in the past. And so we see a lot of threat actors attempting to reuse those passwords across a variety of different sources and websites. The third way is by leveraging stolen credentials or access from third-party environments that might have access to the ultimate targets. The fourth way is by exploiting a vulnerability in software or perhaps a misconfiguration in software. Over the past few years, we've started seeing more and more insider threats within our clients. We continue to investigate more of these, and there's really two common scenarios that we come across the most often. Number one, we find financially motivated insiders that are looking to make some money on the side. We found a number of insiders that have stolen data from their organizations and have reached back out to their company, pretended to be an external threat actor, and said that they've stolen data from the organization and asked for money in exchange for not publishing the data they stole. We're also seeing individuals recruited by specific governments. Certain governments have talents programs where they're essentially trying to amass a lot of information, a lot of intellectual property from leading organizations across the globe. And we see that prominent individuals and respected individuals within organizations can become susceptible to these government recruitment programs. I don't really have a favorite threat actor, but I could tell you there's two groups that I tend to spend the most time with as of the past few months. Those two groups are UNC 2452 and UNC 1878. So let me start with UNC 2452. The reason why I'm spending a lot of time with them is because they are probably one of the more advanced groups, or probably the most advanced group that we've tracked and have consistently responded to over a short period of time. They've got exceptional tradecraft and they're incredibly hard to find. But we're seeing them at a few dozen organizations, and we're trying to help those organizations really assess what does the threat actor actually do within their environments. The other group that I spend a lot of time with is UNC 1878. That's a group that deploys ransomware across a lot of organizations. And back in October of last year, we saw them deliberately deploy ransomware within healthcare organizations. And as you could imagine, dealing with ransomware in a healthcare organization during a global pandemic is incredibly impactful. And so I'm doing what I can to help as many organizations as we can combat these two threat actors, as well as a variety of others.